Hello, history. I thought today was the day that I should debut the mustache here. As we move into our very last unit, only a few days left of distance learning. Hopefully we're back to normal next year. What we're gonna move on to today. So last week you guys finished the Louisiana Purchase stuff. That happened in 1803. We're gonna have to kind of jump ahead here, just again, because like I had said last time, is that I think it's more important that you get the biggest events in history, and maybe we don't worry too much about stuff leading up to it and little details here and there. So we're going to jump way ahead, about 50 or so years, to the Civil War. So what was happening in between that time period of where we acquired all of that new land in the Louisiana Purchase? It started filling up with states, northern states, southern states. As we know, throughout the years, there's always been an argument between the northern states and the southern states over slavery. At this time, the northern states were moving more towards factories, all right? So people could actually make things they were working in factories. The southern states were still stuck on farming. Therefore, the southern states were still really gung-ho about slavery. They really needed slaves to help their economy move forward, especially with the invention of the cotton gin. Cotton became a huge crop in the South. You can make clothes out of it. You can make tons of things out of cotton. So they were making tons of money out of cotton. The northern states, they would take that cotton and they would make clothes out of it in their factories as well. So everyone was kind of connected. But in the North, they started to trend towards the abolitionist movement, which, if you don't remember what that was, that's when people started to say we should not have slaves anymore. The South, because their economy depended on it, were still all for having slaves. Now this guy over here, Abe Lincoln, he becomes our 16th president. So like I said, we jumped forward, fast forward a little bit in history to our next big, most notable president in history, I think. One of my favorites, Abe Lincoln here. So Abe, once he gets elected president, it's kind of a controversial election. He's kind of an unknown person, but he seems to be, or at least to the Southerners, they think that he's going to end slavery. And in fact, Lincoln really wasn't thinking all that much about ending slavery at the time, but it started to trend that way during his presidency, to the point where the Southern colonies got so angry at the Northern colonies and Abraham Lincoln that they said, you know what, we don't even want to be a part of this country anymore. We are going to just do our own thing. We're going to break away. So they did something called secession. They seceded from the nation, meaning they broke away. They left. They created their own nation called the Confederate States of America. And Abe Lincoln wasn't having that. He says, nope, we are all doing this together. I'm not going to let this nation fall apart and break apart. We worked so hard to get to this point. So what eventually happened was the two sides, the northern states and the southern states, ended up going to war. So Americans fighting Americans, sometimes families fighting families. One of the craziest wars in history. It's really disappointing that we have this quarantine period because this is a great unit to end the year on. What I'm going to have you guys do is learn a bit more about it through an Ed Puzzle video. All right? So the Ed Puzzle video is one of those stories of us, all right? And it has a lot of questions, and it's very long, all right? It's about 45 minutes. Therefore, I don't expect you to get it all done in one day. What I need you to do is, today is the 13th, all right? So gold day number 15. You have the 13th, so today, tomorrow the 14th, and the 15th to watch that video and get it done, all right? By Maroon Day 16 is technically your really your last work day of school. You need to have that video completed and the questions answered on that. Make sure to pay attention closely to the video. This is kind of your one score that you're going to get on your Civil War unit. All right, so pay attention, rewatch parts of the videos if you missed a question. I've made all the questions multiple choice. If you have any problems with them, just make sure that you let me know so I can go back and correct them. Still check in on each Maroon Day. I'll also have a video up next one as well. Or excuse me, not Maroon Day, next Gold Day as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. it is disappointing that we have to kind of cruise through such a huge event in history so quickly. Kind of what it all boiled down to for the Civil War was the states felt like their rights were being infringed upon by Abraham Lincoln. They thought we should be allowed to have slavery. It should be our choice. Abraham Lincoln said, nope, it's kind of a government choice. We're all going to do this together. So it all kind of revolved around something called states' rights and slavery, all right? The battle to end slavery or not. In the end, it was the southern states, which were the Confederate States of America, versus the northern states, which were the Union Army in the Civil War. And the war lasts for 4 years, and eventually the Union states prevail. They end up beating the southern states, and that's why we have, slavery gets ended. Rah, 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 everyone's happy. Even Lincoln's a bit happy. And then Lincoln gets assassinated by John Wilkes Booth in a theater not long after the very end of the Civil War. So he barely got to see his dream come to fruition, or what he did come to fruition. But that's kind of, I'm going to have to let Mr. Dunn run through that a little bit more for you in the future, because unfortunately, we're just running out of time. But please watch that Ed Puzzle video. It does give you a great rundown through the Civil War. Pay attention closely, and I hope you have a good day. Remember, you have 2 gold days to get this done, all right? So take your time, but you should probably try to get at least half of it done. A lot of you will probably get it done in one day, but I'd like to see it done as quickly as possible. Otherwise, check in next gold day. Watch my video next gold day. Otherwise, great seeing you. Have a good one.